Hey, you're listening to Mystic Dummies. This is your host Jennifer.
And this is Siona.
This podcast is where we bring our life experiences, have conversations, and shine a light upon everyday mysteries.
From mysteries of this world to the mysteries of ourselves, we talk about it all.
If you are looking for a sign, this is it. Tune into Mystic Dummies every week right here.
Listen now.
This week, we will be talking about how we make decisions by operating through our past trauma and how to replace that mindset.
So let's start the conversation and look at what does operating through pain really mean. The topic we chose for this week is quite close to me because I've been there, I still sometimes do things differently, which isn't my true self because of how in the past they were perceived.
Yeah, I totally agree to what you're saying, because even in my life, I've been very influenced. My decisions in the present have been very influenced by some things that happened in the past.
I've listened to, a lot of people's stories about, them be like, I'm just like this, but they never dig deep. Like even for us, we haven't dug that deep to understand where our pain is coming through. But I feel like this is a very a good way of opening up about the conversation and actually having it rather than labeling it as, oh, this is my past trauma, let's not talk about it. Let's not dig into our old wounds or something. Unless those are not opened, I don't feel like you'll be able to heal them, because you have to heal them, and then only you'll be able to move on and have a new experience from when it comes to similar situations in future.
Yeah, so true. So if you want something better in your future, you need to be at peace with your past. So through this episode, let's dive deeper into how we should stop operating through this place of pain.
The pain can be either smaller or bigger. The size doesn't matter over here. Pain is pain, and we all have gone through it.
Yeah.
So let's know, why do we operate? Why do we function from our pain?
So the first thing is that negative experiences in our past, which can be painful, serve as past wounds in our life. And we function from our pain because of those negative experiences that we went through. Those scars are still there. We still feel the pain of those wounds, and when a similar situation in life approaches, we are skeptical about it. Why? Because our past still plagues us.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, like you said, our past still plagues us. It's just like a haunting ghost around you. Whenever something similar comes, it comes into your face hoo, I'm here, don't forget me, this is what happened last time, don't make the same mistake, like that. But that's the thing, we have to rise above that and be more stronger and deal with it heads on, just deal with it. And we're gonna come to this point later, but it's okay to feel those emotions again. Just because you felt those emotions before, that doesn't mean that you cannot feel those emotions again. This is not chicken pox or measles, it's gonna happen to you again. So just you have to deal with it.
Yeah, and you cannot escape, because many times whatever you go through in your life will remind you of some past pains. So, and how we then react to that situation in your present makes a big difference. So suppose that some situation arises that is very painful, not because the situation itself is painful, but because it reminds you of a painful memory. Then how do you react? So the first step is that it's very important for us to process what we are feeling in the present moment. if we don't process our emotions, we will not respond to a person, but we will react to a person, because we are totally, it totally triggers those memories. So you have to
Yeah.
ask yourself, what is this painful situation reminding you of? Because past, as we said earlier, past wounds influences our action in the present.
And yeah, I mean, and also we think that others are doing that stuff to us intentionally, like,
Yeah.
they are leaving us on read intentionally, or they're ghosting us intentionally, like because we ourselves start creating these scenarios in our head, and we are like, oh, you know what, that person's being a bitch right now, I don't want to deal with this. We feel like other people are there to get us, and it's just our human instinct of, fear and being afraid. But it's a way of, like, that's like a coping mechanism that we have to protect ourselves from experiencing that pain again. So that's why sometimes people are like not ready to fall in love again, or like be in another relationship or something, because they're like, oh, what if this person does the same thing that the other person did, or what if it never works out, or etc., whatever it is. So I feel like, we should give the chance. We have to be open to it. Like, you never know what you're gonna get, right?
So how it's so important to stop operating from this pain, but how are we supposed to even do that?
Yeah, that's a really good question. Like, because even I ask myself that question like 100 times every day.
Yeah.
And the thing is, replacing your memory. Oh, sorry. I mean, replacing your mindset. Replacing the mindset of blaming the situation, and just being open with curiosity and willingness to see things in a fresh and a new way. I feel like that's a way to go. And obviously it's not going to happen overnight, but it's something that we need to work on ourselves, and gradually we can see the difference later on. You won't be that angry at people, you won't be having like mood breakouts every other hour or something like that. And there's something I've tried myself, and I can say I'm a bit content how I how I like live my days now. I'm not that angry. I like have happy hours every single day. I'm not talking about alcohol. I'm talking about actual happy hours.
True.
And yeah, it's fun.
I agree.
And also like, and also like the wound from the past becomes a lens with which we view the world. Like, we keep telling ourselves, I am unworthy, I am unloved, so and so, and we don't, and no one cares about our feelings. But that's not true. Like, if you look around, there are people who care about you. And we have to take responsibility for our own happiness. We cannot be like, oh, I'm unhappy because that happened. Like, bitch, be take responsibility and be happy for what you have. Like, I think happiness and gratefulness go hand in hand. So if you're grateful, you will be happy, you'll feel satisfied. And taking control in your hand and owning your choices is like the best thing you can do, because when you own your mistakes, which leads to rebuking others, it's crazy. I mean, you were talking about some Instagram page, right? Talking about this.
So I read this on the Instagram page that accountability is healing. So when you take responsibility for whatever has happened, for your mistake, it is healing, and it becomes healing, because you think that why did this happen to me, why did this, but when you take that responsibility, oh, it is because of my mistake, because I wasn't prepared for this test, I wasn't prepared for this exam. So if you take that responsibility, you start healing. You don't blame the situation anymore. So you take the control back in your hand. And as you said, that you need to take responsibility of your happiness. Take a control in your hand. So you need to be at peace with yourself. You need to sit with your dark side to be familiar with it. And first of all, very important is that you need to acknowledge your imperfections and weaknesses, so that you can be ready to laugh at yourself.
Dude, I do that every morning. Because like when I wake up, I feel like a piece of shit, which is not an affirmation is just I'm acknowledging my piece of shit phase, but my other side is a very good badass kind of a phase. So I'm just acknowledging both of them. But yeah, which is good. You have to acknowledge both sides. You cannot be a whole perfect person because perfection doesn't exist.
True. Yeah. So working on yourself is hard work. It needs to be done consistently. And once you've done that work for yourself, you are aware of your triggers, you can process your emotions, and then you can act from a place of awareness. And if someone genuinely hurts you, you have to express that pain so that you don't repress it. And once it is
repression.
Yes.
Yeah, like repression is something that we all do, even if it's not consciously, but we all unconsciously like repress a lot of stuff which comes out later on. Like, we just project it out, like even if we don't know. Like once it's expressed, you will realize that the true intention behind it, like, oh shit, I didn't really meant this, but at the time you were like so fired up that it happened. And like, I have this quote that I found, which is actually a big quote, and I don't know who the author is, but I'm anyway going to say it. So this goes like, an identity is a fix that you think describes who you are. If you are living in the pain from the past, you may see yourself as wounded, needy, lacking, or broken. You might think you are incompetent, or that you need to prove yourself, or that you need to be sad. All these identities stop you from seeing your natural brilliance. It's like you are looking at yourself through a window covered with smudges. Be open to shedding these identities for clearing away past experiences. And now you are out of your own way and chained from your own past, no longer needing to figure it all out. You're available to the natural unfolding of life.
As we conclude with today's episode, we leave you with one last piece of advice. Be willing to shed your old identities. There's a past version of yours that's been hurt. You are allowed to heal, grow, and develop a new version. Thank you for tuning in. Wishing you luck and lots of love.
See you next week. Until then, this was me, Siona.
And me, Jennifer.
Mystic Dummies signing off.